This might look like a manga panel, but it was actually made entirely in Blender. No Photoshop, no Procreate, just Blender, with hand-painted textures, grease pencil, and basic 3D dev. I studied a bunch of manga references, broke down how emotion is shown through line weight, and rebuilt it using Blender's paint tools. In this video, I'll walk you through how I approach the eye, the line work, and the hand-painted textures, and how you can use Blender for stylized manga art too. Let's break it down. I started off by importing a stylized female mesh from the Human Base Meshes asset pack by Blender Studio. I used this as a starting point for the eye and the face. First, I clipped off the rest of the body and cleaned up the mesh, so I was only working with what I needed. I wanted the eyes to be looking directly at the camera, so I adjusted their position accordingly. I also made a few proportional tweaks to the face, mainly around the nose and the mouth, just to match the look I had in mind. Nothing too fancy here. Once that felt right, I had a solid base to work from. For the final look, I really wanted a hand-drawn manga feel. After some research, it became clear that texture painting was the way to go. I used Blender's Paint System add-on, which simplifies the texture painting workflow and feels very similar to working in Photoshop. I started with the right eye. The base layer was just a solid white color. On a new image layer, I began painting the iris details using a hard pressure brush. Once I was happy with that, I moved on to adding gradient details. I created another layer underneath the iris layer and used a soft brush with varying pressure and subtle grey tones to build up depth. Here's a look at how I detail both the eyes using the same approach, layering different elements, switching brushes, and gradually building up the tone and contrast. I moved on to the face. The workflow here was very similar to the eyes. One thing I rely a lot during this stage is a smear brush, which I use alongside the other brushes to blend different shades together smoothly. After establishing the gradients, I added the line art and highlights, things like eyebrows, grunge marks, and subtle facial details. Since this is a 3D model, it's important to keep rotating the camera as you work, just to make sure everything holds up from different angles. The comic panel itself was super simple. I used a plane, subdivided it, and then created a small gap in the middle to frame the face like a manga panel. I placed it directly in front of the camera and applied a very simple white shader. To give it a proper outline, I also used an object line art grease pencil setup on the panel mesh. The hair was probably the trickiest part. There were a lot of ways to approach hair, but I wanted something quick and flexible. I didn't feel like rigging, and honestly, that level of complexity wasn't really necessary for this project. So instead, I went with grease pencil and experimented with a few modifiers. These were some quick tests I did to see if the idea would work. By adding a wave distortion effect and adjusting the face, I could get some concepts of a nice flowing motion after a bit of tweaking. So I decided to commit to that approach. For the hair itself, I combined texture painting along with grease pencil strokes, mixing 2D and 3D elements together. I drew the hair strands around the 3D cursor, repositioning it in front of and behind the face as needed. I also mixed in some white strands to add variation and break things up visually. After that, I spent some time adding more details, refining the lips, neck, and other areas of the face to bring everything together. Next up was animating the hair. Just like in the earlier test, I used different variations of the wave distortion modifier for different hair strands and then keyframed them. Keeping the amplitude low was a key here. Subtle movement works best. For the eyelashes, I once again used grease pencil to give them a bit more depth and a 3D feel. After that, I thickened both the eyebrows and eyelash using texture painting. To finish things off, I wanted to add rain streaks flowing around the character. To do this, I had to get a little creative. I created a sphere and drew rain-like streaks around it in a single direction. Then, I applied a transparent material to the sphere and rotated it. This creates the illusion of rain streaks falling rapidly across the scene. Once positioned correctly, it worked exactly as I hoped. And there we go, the final result. I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I hope you picked up a thing or two along the way. Thanks so much for all the support this year. I've got some exciting plans coming up, and I can't wait to share them with you all. See you in the next one. Bye.